Hey, Big Ed here. So I was asked by the Mod Devices people to make a quick demonstration of what I've created with my Mod Dwarf. Mod Dwarf is a multi-effects box, as you will see on this other screen with the video, that can do anything. I mean, think of it as hundreds and hundreds of plugins in one box. You can assign switches, you can assign expression pedals. I've got it assigned to a Morningstar MC6 V2 switching box that's controlling 6 different parameters, which then leaves me another, in this case, 2 switches on the Mod Dwarf box, although there's other ways to configure it. I think you could do 3. The third one could be to switch between boards or other, like the Mod Dwarf has 3 switches built in. So essentially you could have 9 if you had an MC6 or 11 if you had an MC8 or any other device. It's super simple to program to these. When I say super simple, I mean it's super simple to assign things to a separate USB or MIDI box. It's drop and assign. Basically what I did was I pulled down, I said I want to assign this effect to this switch, pressed the switch on the Morningstar, voila, it was assigned. Never have to think about it again. If you want to reassign it to a different effect, different plugin, if you will, same thing. So pretty amazing. It's stereo in, stereo out. I'm not going to do too much talking because we've gotten away from that lately. There's too many people jibber-jabbering on the web. I want to show you what I created, what it sounds like. But again, I've got, now I'll show you on the screen. So they have a website that their own particular IP address that you make your pedal boards, right? And so here I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 different pedals or plugins going. And I'm using less than 60% of the CPU. I've had up to 22 plugins and gotten up to maybe like 80% of CPU. I don't know that I would go above 80 because there are spikes, just like with any CPU system. Although I never had a problem, but I wouldn't go above 80 if I were you. But if you really need more than 22 plugins or effects, you may want to rethink something, even for me. So we got a reverb up front that's off, but I can turn it on if I want to shoegaze. I've got a fuzz, a really great sounding fuzz called the Golden Night. I think it's called the Golden Night, or the GX Night Fuzz. I've got a delay, a glitch delay that's really good. You can set it any way you wish. I've got a tape stop effect. I've got a compressor, a amp cab, 2 8-second delays that can both be turned on and off simultaneously. They're set slightly differently. They're both 8 seconds, but the mix and the feedback are different. So that way I get a little different flavor going. I've got another delay, a reverb, a ring mod, another delay, another reverb. For me personally, I've found that having more than one reverb gets me the reverb sound I want. I'm looking for width and depth and height, and that's how I get it, combining short delays, specific flavors of delays with different types of reverbs. The ring mod turns on and off, And I have an EQ right there in the middle F at the end of chain 1. What do I mean chain 1? Well, just to be clear, so as I said, there were stereo ins and outs. I'm going mono into 1. The top row is chain 1. I am going out of output 1 through this effects chain, as you see here. The synesthesia, the motion loop, the mini glitch from King of Gear, and the Paradox A plus X5 delay from Shift Line. Then I'm going back into input 2. So in essence, there's your effects loop. So if there's anything that you can't get in the mod Dwarf, you can assign an effects loop. And by the way, this little pedal board, this is another great thing about the mod Dwarf. So the pedal board itself is 14 by 10, which may be the smallest board I have ever taken on the road, and yet had this power, 14 by 10. It's pretty incredible. So a lot of great things going on here. I've been a beta tester for the last year. I know people are starting to talk about this, and I didn't talk about it a year ago because mod devices are really cool people, and they have a forum that I highly recommend where you can make suggestions, report bugs, and they were tweaking it, and it's only now that people, the third quarter of 2021 that people are getting, it's on the market. They had trouble like everybody else getting parts. So I've had it since October last year. It's now the end of August 2021. So I've had it almost a year. And I've been using it extensively because I love the sound. I plug into this Memphis Sun for a little slapback double tracking thing for my lap steel. And then the Golden Boy by Jackson Audio. And then it goes to a buffer. Every family needs a buffer. And then into the mod Dwarf. I told you the effects loop. At the end of my effects loop, and again, this is just, you can do whatever you want. At the end of my effects loop, I have it go to a Clinch Effects Pico pre, the little Echoplex pre that's always on, and that's underneath the board with the buffer. And then I just come straight out of output 2 of the mod Dwarf. So yeah, enough jibba jabba on top of my lap steel, and that's turning the free the tone motion loop on and off, which is a great feature that you can do via expression. I don't know. Let's see how this goes. So there's a little example of what you can do, right? So now, obviously, I've got both of the delays, the 8-second delays feeding back, but you can turn them off. Dig? There's no trails on that particular delay, that 8-second delay. So let me turn off the effects, the external effects. Now, I don't know if you could see on the camera, but I was kind of peaking the input a little bit. That's probably my fault. I think I probably have the golden boy set a little high. It probably got knocked into since the last time and I didn't check it, but it didn't sound bad because the converters are 32-bit converters. They're really, yeah, it's great. Wouldn't recommend diming them, but anyway, so here's just the pure. I should mention I have the tone a little bit rolled off for the EBO portion of the evening. I'll roll that back up, and this is without the tone. You dig? I also have a volume pedal in the middle of this chain, after the Golden Boy, before the rest of the, so after the Golden Boy, before the mod, and before the effects loop, but it was wide open. I wasn't using the volume pedal. So yeah, so there you go. I think I used every effect. I think I forgot to put on, I normally put a little chorus on, which now is on. So that's the sound I like out of the Mod Dwarf from my lap steel. You know, run with it. I wanted an airy, spatial thing in addition to the dual long delays and all the other crap. But yeah, the possibilities are endless. I mean, look, just do whatever you want. I mean, and you don't have to use an effects loop. If you want stereo in, stereo outs, you could have two different instruments going in and have them sending out. Like maybe you have an electric guitar, an acoustic guitar, an electric guitar, and a bass. You can do that. They can have separate ins and outs. I mean, it's pretty endless. Yeah, I don't want to bore you too much, but that's my Mod Dwarf and how I use it and how I like it. And I'm still really, really happy with it. It's one of the best purchases I've ever made. I hope you dig it. Enjoy.